Hey basketball guys, we have news. Let's go to more news from the Golden State Warriors, but before that, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your sign an experienced, solid player and NBA champion. The Warriors can bet big on Derek White, who will be worth a lot and will make them championship contenders. With Derek White on the team, the Warriors will be in a position to give Stephen Curry his 5th title. The Warriors want Derek White as their new addition to revive the NBA dynasty. Warriors floated as landing spot for NBA champion guard. The Golden State Warriors and Boston Celtics are both staring at summer crossroads, one trying to squeeze another title from the Stephen Curry era, the other trying to balance a sky-high payroll without Jason Tatum. So when Logan Murdoch of The Ringer floated Derek White as a potential target for the Warriors, ears perked up. Appearing on the Zach Lowe show, Murdoch said the Warriors are looking at White this offseason, citing him as the kind of high IQ, two-way player who could elevate Golden State's backcourt. Another guy that I think you should look at for the Warriors going forward is Derek White. I think that's something the Warriors are looking at right now. Warriors looking to reload around Steph. Let's be honest, time isn't exactly on the Warriors' side. Curry just wrapped his age 36 season, and Draymond Green isn't getting any younger. They already made their big swing trading for Jimmy Butler, and if they're serious about contending, they need one more piece. White fits the mold: elite defender, spot-up shooter, secondary playmaker. He just wrapped a career year with the Celtics, hitting 38.4% from deep and making his 2nd straight all-defensive team. He's exactly the kind of player who thrives in Golden State's system. High motor, no ego, can guard up or down. Curry wouldn't have to carry the entire perimeter load, and Steve Kerr would finally have a guard who can hit a corner 3 and switch across 3 positions. For Boston, the interest in White is less about fit and more about flexibility. They're staring down a projected $500+ million roster thanks to the luxury tax and supermax extensions. With Tatum sidelined indefinitely due to his Achilles injury, the Celtics might be forced to shed salary, and White, despite being a fan favorite, is one of their most movable high-value contracts. A package centered on Jonathan Kuminga and future draft picks could be enough to start the conversation. Kuminga offers Boston a young, athletic forward who could hold down the wing while Tatum rehabs. The Warriors control their first-rounders from 2026 to 2029, and those picks could be golden for a Celtics team suddenly looking toward long-term viability. A perfect fit, or a pipe dream? Would the Celtics actually move White, who's become a tone-setter in their locker room? That depends on how aggressive Brad Stevens wants to be in reshaping a win-now roster around injured stars. And for the Warriors, this would mean parting with both youth and draft capital, something they've resisted in recent years. Still, the fit is there. The motivation is there. And if White becomes available, Golden State will be in line. Because if the Warriors want another ring, moves like this could make all the difference. Bruce Brown is another player who could come to the Warriors. The Golden State Warriors will look to make moves during the offseason. According to a recent report from Brett Siegel of Clutch Points, one of the names to watch out for is Bruce Brown of the New Orleans Pelicans. Brown, who has been around the league since winning a championship with the Denver Nuggets, would be an excellent piece for the Warriors on both sides of the basketball. He's also played for the Indiana Pacers and Toronto Raptors since leaving Denver after the 2022-23 season. Andrew Wiggins was a player who could be a shooter off the ball on the wing and also create scoring opportunities for himself. The Dubs hope to find another player like that who can wear many different hats on the wing and help be a lead secondary scoring threat. Karis LeVert and Bruce Brown are 2 names to keep an eye on in this regard for Golden State. Brown is a player the Warriors have held interest in since he left the Denver Nuggets, and the team explored possible trade avenues to acquire him over the last year, Siegel wrote. Brown was an excellent defender during his time in Denver, but he hasn't had the same type of role in other spots. Appearing in 23 games for the Pelicans last season, he averaged 8.2 points, 4.2 rebounds, and shot 35.6% from three-point range on just 2.0 attempts per game. During his time with the Nuggets, He averaged 3.2 three-pointers per game, shooting 35.8% from beyond the arc during the 2022-23 season. The Warriors would need him to increase his three-point attempts, which shouldn't be an issue. Warriors have big roster decision on young forward, and it's not Jonathan Kuminga. Do they look for an upgrade in free agency? Jonathan Kuminga is the highest-profile player the Golden State Warriors will have to make a decision on this offseason, but he's not the only young forward whose future with the franchise is up in the air. Gue Santos became a fan favorite and common part of the rotation during the second half of the season, having often been a spark off the bench for the Warriors with his defensive tenacity, rebounding and ability to make hustle plays. Santos' development was a major positive for Golden State in the final months of the regular season, but like many of his young teammates his impact dwindled during the postseason. The Brazilian forward went from averaging 13.6 minutes during the regular season to just 7.2 minutes in the playoffs, having also received 2 DNPs in Game 3 of the respective series against the Houston Rockets and Minnesota Timberwolves. The Warriors have a team option on Gue Santos' contract. Despite the more limited playing time in the playoffs, you'd think Santos still did more than enough in his second season to stick with the Warriors moving forward. However, that may not necessarily be the case, particularly as the franchise takes more of a short-term approach focusing on the next 2 years with Stephen Curry, Jimmy Butler, and Draymond Green. Golden State have flexibility with Santos' $2.2 million deal for next season. They have a team option on the contract, but it also doesn't become fully guaranteed until next January. $225,000 becomes guaranteed in September. Most importantly, that gives the Warriors the luxury of time to go out and assess the free agency and trade market to see what alternative options may be available. For example, could Golden State get their hands on a more proven experienced forward that's more aligned to their short-term plans than Santos is? Of the free agency crop of forwards, does one or more of Larry Nance Jr., Trey Lyles, Gershon Yabusele, or Taurean Prince make more sense than Santos on the roster? Perhaps, but they're not mutually exclusive. There's a good chance the Warriors can acquire a forward this offseason while retaining Santos on the roster. Given Golden State are hoping to add more size and shooting to the roster this summer, it would be strange if they moved on from a 6 feet 8 inches forward who's got a usable jump shot and shown strong signs of being a winning player. Still, Santos faces some uncertainty this offseason like many of his teammates. Giannis Antetokounmpo attends event in San Francisco amid Warriors trade rumors. NBA fans react as Giannis Antetokounmpo was spotted at a Google event in San Francisco amid rampant trade rumors. Giannis Antetokounmpo will likely leave the Milwaukee Bucks this summer. After an embarrassing exit from the playoffs in the first round, a report claimed he's considering moving out of Milwaukee for the first time in his career. Following that report, Giannis was first spotted at Stephen Curry's party, and then at a Google event in San Francisco. Warriors insider Logan Murdoch earlier this week claimed that Giannis was intrigued by the idea of joining forces with Stephen Curry. However, he claimed the Warriors don't have the assets to afford him. Now, after seeing Giannis at an event and reading Murdoch's claims, Warriors fans are also anticipating that his move to Golden State is only imminent now. They took to social media and expressed their views as the Bucks superstar was seen in San Francisco. He will be a Warrior and we keeping Steph and Jimmy. Wow. We also getting D. White, claimed a Warriors fan on X. Other than Antetokounmpo, Derek White has emerged as one of the strongest candidates with the potential to join the Warriors via a trade. Coming up at the Bay next season, PG, Stephen Curry SG, Draymond Green SF, Jimmy Butler 3PF, Giannis Antetokounmpo C. Quinton Post Scenes, wrote a Warriors fan who was excited by the potential starting lineup of Golden State if Giannis were to join without trading away Draymond Green. This dude he's already trying to get acclimated with the Bay. Giannis bout to be a Warrior, wrote an optimistic NBA fan who still believed Giannis could join the Warriors. Even though he's only in San Francisco because he is sponsored by Google so he was compelled to attend their event. Some NBA fans realized the actual reason he is there and did not want to get their hopes up. Stop giving Warriors fans false hope, said an X user. He has a Google deal, y'all don't get your hopes up, wrote another X user who resonated with the same sentiment. They have no one to trade. Kuminga is trash, wrote an NBA fan who reminded Warriors fans that they do not have the assets worthy enough to pull off a trade for Giannis. And while that's just wishful thinking, you never know what goes on behind closed doors. As Warriors insider Logan Murdoch said, Giannis seemed intrigued by the idea of joining forces with Curry. What Giannis Antetokounmpo thinks of Stephen Curry. The Bucks star recently hosted a long Q&A session on X where he was answering all sorts of questions about the NBA amid his rampant trade rumors. Among his answers, he showed that he has tremendous respect for Curry. He called Curry the greatest shooter of all time and also rated him among the top point guards to ever play the game, like Magic Johnson and Isaiah Thomas. It will be interesting to see if Giannis can pull the strings to make a deal happen. However, as of now, his attendance at the Google event is not a conclusive sign that he is interested in joining the Warriors. Warriors' Steve Kerr struggles in one area as head coach, ex-NBA star says. The Golden State Warriors had quite the up-and-down season. They were the number 1 seed in the Western Conference in the first month of the season. However, they quickly dropped the standings and were as low as the number 12 seed. That's when Mike Dunleavy Jr. pulled the trigger on the blockbuster trade that sent Andrew Wiggins and Kyle Anderson to the Miami Heat for Jimmy Butler. Even with the trade, the Warriors still had to win, and win they did. With Butler in the lineup, the Warriors were 23-7 and 27-8 when both Butler and Stephen Curry played. However, from the point when they traded for Butler, every game turned into a must-win and could be a factor as to why Curry got hurt in the Western Conference semifinals. With Curry out, his hand was forced to reinsert Jonathan Kuminga back into the lineup after getting benched and out of the rotation down the stretch of the regular season. According to former Warrior DeMarcus Cousins, this is nothing new for Kerr. He just doesn't handle young talent well, Cousins said. He doesn't develop young talent. We've seen one guy develop under Steve Kerr. The Warriors ran him off, that was Jordan Poole. Poole was an essential part of the Warriors' most recent championship against the Boston Celtics. But after the now famous scrum between Poole and Draymond Green, Poole was traded to the Washington Wizards. If you put Poole aside, there are some young players who one could argue haven't reached their potential. James Wiseman, Moses Moody, and Kuminga are just the latest. Kuminga could be the best way for the Warriors to bolster their roster in the offseason. He is set to become a restricted free agent and could force a team that wants him into a sign-and-trade. This isn't an unfamiliar situation. While it's an entirely different sport, longtime coach Bill Belichick was horrible at drafting young talent down the stretch of his NFL career and relied more on trading for and signing veterans. Golden State Warriors fans have very mixed feelings on Steve Kerr's latest Quinton Post comments. The Golden State Warriors season featured plenty of storylines, from Stephen Curry's injury concerns to Jimmy Butler's trade impact and Jonathan Kuminga's questionable future. But one overlooked aspect deserves significant attention: rookie center Quinton Post's impressive debut campaign. Post emerged as an important piece for the Warriors, helping the franchise secure a play-in spot and advance to the Western Conference semifinals. His ability to stretch the floor provided a stark contrast to traditional centers like Kevin Looney or Tracy Jackson-Davis. The rookie's shooting prowess became his calling card, averaging an impressive 40.8% from three-point range during the regular season while appearing in 42 games with 14 starts. Kerr expresses high confidence in Post's development trajectory. Head coach Steve Kerr recently offered praise for his rookie big man, expressing optimism about Post's future with the organization, despite claiming he was targeted during the Rockets series. "I have high hopes for Quinton Post. I thought Quinton had a great rookie season. He showed the impact he can make, and I think he'll make a lot of improvement," Kerr stated. Kerr's comments highlight how Post answered the Warriors' need for a modern big man capable of creating offensive spacing that helps make them less predictable. Fans debate Post's potential ceiling and necessary improvements. Warriors fans have expressed mixed reactions to Post's rookie performance, with many identifying specific areas for growth. The most common criticism centers around his need to add muscle mass and improve his overall strength. One wrote, "These guys are in the NBA and we talking about improvement. He completely botched on the biggest stage. These guys need to go back in the gym and weight room and put that work in." He needs to gain some pounds and work on his movement. He move like he has 2 left feet. View tweet. Another fan-noted post could develop into an elite center similar to Ivica Zubac or Isaiah Hartenstein if he commits to gaining weight and spending additional time in the weight room. Post needs to bulk up. Like the tall guys of Zubac, Hartenstein of the world,